It's your perfume in the breeze.
Hi, welcome to Perfume in the Breeze. Thank you for joining me today here by the pool with the lovely Boone. Today we are going to be talking about a fragrance called Ocean Oud by Ramon Monegal. It is one of my most recent fragrances. I came across it several years ago, in fact, in Harrods in London, the department store, and I put it in a sealed envelope. I put the scent spray in a sealed envelope because it didn't wow me enough to buy it or to give it too much of a second thought, but enough for me to warrant keeping the sample and returning to it, which I did over many years, in fact. Now, in that hoard of samples that I kept were two similar fragrances, or at least I felt at the time that they were similar. One of them was this, Ocean Oud by Ramon Monegal, and the other was Silence of Sea by Strangelove New York, Strangelove NYC, which is very expensive. It is very expensive. It's hundreds. You all right, Taylor? Better? Good. Hundreds of dollars for a tiny, tiny amount. Now, that scent, I will go into in more detail in another video, but that scent just astonished me because it was such a challenge. It was not immediately beautiful, but at the same time it was magnificently beautiful. It was the smell of the sea, but not some sunscreen lurid cocktail beachy fantasy. It was the smell of being drowned by the Kraken, and I just loved it. It was so macabre. It was the smell of drowning and being by tentacles. And I kept going back, and I mean, we're talking years after, I just think how many years? 2 years after I got the sample, the scent samples or so, I kept returning to these two, and after a while, Silence of Sea, which is predominantly white truffle, ambergris, and angelica, began to fall apart, and just kind of fell apart, and that the illusion of it ceased being an illusion, and I saw behind the curtain of it. I could smell its constituent parts, and the illusion, the magic of it was gone. But then on the other hand, Ocean Oud, which initially didn't really excite me, to be honest, because I don't like aquatic scents at all. Until very recently, I had zero interest in them. I like my ouds to be a little bit more shocking and a little bit more shocking, I guess. And it was just living in the shadow of the other fragrance. I really hadn't given it too much attention. But then I came back to it, and I saw it from a different angle, and suddenly it was everything I needed in my life. It was just, I couldn't live without it, and it began to really sit at the front of my mind for a very long time. So I agonize about spending money, and I thought, oh, this is a very expensive perfume, do I need it? And I needed cheering up at that particular time. I was I needed some cheering up, so I got it, and it cheered me up. But anyway, so I was smelling it, and I realized that I had I realized that I had nothing in my collection um, remotely similar to it, and thus it filled a gap. uh, so I got it. Anyway, what does it smell of? Well, I'll tell you about it. Let me show you about it first. So, I was not expecting it to come in this beautiful, absolutely stunning resin or plastic or epoxy, whatever it is. This beautiful, shiny black box with a lovely golden inlay. The box, as you open it up, again, absolutely stunning with. Don't give too much away. Absolutely stunning with a mirror and the bottle itself. Now, the bottle itself is a bit of an odd shape and size. It's very distinctive. It's not immediately beautiful, but it doesn't look bad on a counter. It doesn't look particularly nice next to other bottles, but it certainly catches the eye. I think by itself on a counter it would look perfectly nice. But anyway, it's a nice enough bottle. It's a good weight. The lid is lovely. It's got a nice catch to it. And the lid isn't very heavy, but it's heavy enough. Now, this is not a huge bottle. This is how many mils? This is 50 mils. And I'm likely to use I'm likely to use this quite regularly, actually, because oh my gosh, it's I realized that I realized that this is the smell of me. This was such an expression of who I was at that minute, and am, kind of, and just it made sense that this was part of my life. And it's glorious, absolutely stunning. It smells like the ocean, and it smells like oud, hence the name Ocean Oud. But there's more to it than that. There's more to that than simply that. If you think about it as a Venn diagram, you have oud over here, and you have the ocean over here, and most fragrances. No, let's look at this a different way. Most times when you mix different notes of a fragrance, they have a facet or an aspect in common that marries them together. And if you marry three things that each have, the space between them becomes blah blah blah. It's the way the art and the magic happens. But normally they need to have some sort of thread connecting the two. So if you, for example, were to mix rose with oud. No, I don't even. Do you know what? I'm not going to even give examples. You can work it out in your head. They often have something in common, but the smell of oud and the smell of the ocean have almost There's another doggy. Hello. Have almost They have almost nothing in common. So my brain, recognizing one and recognizing the other, is trying to fill in this huge chasm in the middle where normally there's things, and here there is this vacuum, and it's fascinating. It creates this wonderful fragrant experience where you rely a lot on your imagination rather than it being spelt out for you. Anyway, so I don't even need to spray this to tell you right away that it smells beautiful. It smells very much like hot sand. And if you were to just lie with your head back on baking hot sand, and breathe, you're more than likely going to smell the hot sand. Because, in my experience at least, the smell of the ocean, the smell of the ocean is such an, is such an, it's such a large smell. I think that I can't speak for all of mankind. I can only speak from my experience. But I wonder if as an evolutionary measure, our brains kind of cut off the smell of the ocean. And I find that now I'm very fortunate. I live beachside, and it's not, even though I live so close to the ocean, it's not something that I'm consciously, I don't smell it all the time, even though I can sometimes smell it salty in the air, or it's fresher here than it is inland, let's say. Very rarely do I smell the smell of the ocean. And sometimes, if I sit on the beach, right on the seaside, and half breathe, I can trick my brain into smelling what it otherwise is blind to. And the smell of the ocean is so extraordinary and vast. It just smells so huge and so expansive, and it connects. I think the size of it and its scope and its power and its the versatility of it, it's just so immense. I don't think that the human brain can really fathom it. And so when I do smell that smell, when I do fathom that smell, I'm humbled by it and quite overwhelmed, and it's beautiful in such a bleak way. It's not beautiful in the way that a flower is beautiful, or that musk is beautiful, or that leather can be beautiful. It's beautiful in this bleak, cold way. But yet this doesn't smell cold. It smells enormous and infinite. And when I smell this, I can connect to that smell of the ocean, and I love that it then becomes part of me and my experience and other people's experience of me, and that as I walk around the world wearing this, people smell that incredible smell of the ocean and how clean it is, because the ocean is extremely clean, but it's cleanliness not in the way that how do I describe this? It's cleanliness in the way that a fish is clean. It's not freshly scrubbed out of a shower fresh. It's not sterile fresh. It's clean and sleek and I just fucking love it. I don't like to think about what are the constituent elements of a fragrance, and I think trying to determine them is like trying to work out a magic trick. I don't see the point. It's just going to spoil it. So to say, oh, this has element X, Y, and Z, and I smell those components isn't something I'm interested to do, especially for this fragrance. because it captures something just so magic. That smell of the ocean, the smell of the sand, and the mystery and magnificence of oud. Not like Sophie oud. This is not a fermented blue cheese oud. This is a very refined, very polished and inoffensive oud. The oud in this wouldn't likely offend somebody. The how real the ocean smells might, but probably wouldn't, because it smells clean. It's not going to offend anyone. I'm going to spray it on a blotter, and I'm going to see if there's any other insight that I think is pertinent to share with you. Just going to give it one spray, because I don't like to waste this, because I want to have it in my life all fucking time. It was a go-to for a while, like every day. I was like a signature scent, and it's a really good signature scent for me. It really is, but I've recently got into layering, and I don't wish to layer this with other things just yet. So I haven't been going to it very often, but let's see what it has to share with me today. Oh, sweet. Just lay back a little bit and have a smell. Right out to the bottle, it smells a little bit like white paint. Not in a bad way. Oh, there it is. It's like swimming with a giant next to a giant whale. This is a miracle. This isn't a miracle. It's not fair. But this is a wonder. This is a wonder of modern perfumery. This wouldn't have existed 20 years ago. I don't know even if it could have done. I don't know if the world would have been ready for it at that point, or if it could even have been conceived, or whether the ingredients were. I don't know, but this is very modern, very contemporary. And it's kind of aloof. It's warm in the way the warm sand is warm. But the ocean, the beasts inside the ocean, they are cold. And it's that contradiction of warm and cold. And kind of oud smoke, although this isn't a smoky oud, but the kind of ethereal form of oud. And the polar opposite of this giant, dense ocean and all of its creatures. I can only imagine me wearing this. I was trying to describe to you who wears this. If I imagine this on a woman, because of course this is a unisex fragrance. There's nothing about it that should determine that it's for a lady or a gentleman, particularly. I like that it's icy cold. I like that in this hot, humid climate that I'm in right now, I can smell it very fresh and clean and bracing. Not in a noxious way. Salty. Oh. If a woman wears this, I think she's quite icy cold. quite detached. She's not warm and loving and motherly and giving. She's quite aloof and detached. She sends her laundry out to be delivered back. She orders in from nice restaurants. She likes minimalism. She's very efficient. But then if I imagine this on a man, somebody very mysterious and analytical, who thinks but doesn't speak. It's quite an introverted fragrance. Again, it's that contradiction between being very solemn, and also being quite radiant. I get lovely images of this. I can see a very calm, slightly choppy, dark blue sea with a beautiful afternoon golden sunlight just on the surface of it. Clean, fresh, lovely. If you like aquatics and if you like mineral fragrances and marine fragrances, this is really, without a doubt, something that you should give some very serious attention to. I cannot take this smelling. Can you see? I cannot take this. I've not taken the smelling strip away from my face. When I wear this, I feel very, very professional. This is great to wear in an office. Absolutely fantastic to wear in an office. And I think, for the time being, that might be all I have to say on the matter. This is worth every penny, and I'm delighted to have this in my collection. Thank you for spending some time by the pool with me and Boone. I'll see you again.